How's everybody doing out there? It's another special episode of Smile on Camera, hosted by Lourenzo Smith from the sunny side of LA. Today we have another special guest, my guy Evan Roberts from New York / LA, but originally from LA. He is one of the most inspiring people I've met so far. We actually linked up one day randomly and then just got close after that. Another photographer / videographer, just all around creative that I happen to know as a friend. So just definitely wanted to bring him on the show, introduce him to everybody. So Evan, take it away. Introduce yourself to the folks.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. I'm Evan, currently primarily doing a lot of video stuff right now. On my free time, I met Lorenzo and I was I think we were in Lower East Side and was just kind of jumping around taking photos. And so that was fun. I actually turned that kind of era. I was briefly in New York for a couple months shooting a documentary for Wu-Tang Clan, Steve Rifkin. So, so when I met
No
you...
big deal.
Yeah, well, I was briefly down there. I don't know if you're familiar with Steve Rifkin, but he started Loud Records, so he signed Wu Tang and a lot of those guys from the '90s, like Exhibit and DMX and Fat Joe too. But I actually was shooting their 25th anniversary show at Radio City, so that was kind of like my mission being in New York. Luckily, we got it all wrapped before COVID hit. I mean, New York really, that was horrible. They were at the epicenter there for a little bit, but yeah, it was dope to meet you. It was like a random interaction. I remember you were wearing the New Balances, the Tremaine. What is it?
The No Vacancies.
The No Vacancies. Yeah, I can't believe that. But so I was like, dope. But yeah, man.
Yeah, that was a fun night. We were just scrolling and it was like, yo, I like your shoes, and that's a New York thing. That's like the most. I think that's the best compliment that another man can give another man. Besides, oh, you smell good, bro. Like, if someone compliments your shoes on the street, that's like eco booster. But yeah, definitely we met that day. It was a cool day. Oh yeah, speaking of the book, like, thanks for featuring the kid in it. That's pretty dope. What went into that?
Absolutely. Well, so kind of whenever I'm in whatever era I'm in, I like to like taking photos. I like to kind of compile it into a photo book or a zine. So my first one I ever put out was in 2017 back in LA. I was a photographer at Camp Flogna, Tyler the Creators Festival there. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I had the hall access pass and I didn't want to do all the same things that all these other photographers were doing, that were just going up and asking to take photos. Like I wanted to actually have some kind of story arc behind what I was doing. So I had them like all put up their hands like this. And that's kind of the idea that birthed Still Human, which I've kind of carried on now to 2020. So, yeah, I love making photo zines. I just love having physical items too. And I was only in New York, living there for like 2 months, so I wanted to kind of like put all those photos that I had taken and put them into a photo book to represent that era. So one of them was from that moment that I met you in the street. Actually, I think I took a photo of you right when I met you, and yeah, it was dope. I really enjoyed New York. It was always like a place that I've dreamed of. Just living and just kind of absorbing that culture. Like one of my biggest inspirations is Kid Cudi from '08, when he was working at the Babe store. Like Karma Loop, Greg Selko, all those guys.
Speaking of legends there. Speaking of legends now.
Yeah. So that being in New York was like an honor, and I wanted to do as much as I could to like respect like how great that history was there, culturally speaking. So yeah, I wanted to put your photo in there too, because I feel like you represent New York too, and you represented it at that time that I was there in that era. Because you're dope, and I've now that I follow you and know you, like I'm a big fan of your work too. So
appreciate that, brother. Okay, some props. So I know like it's probably like super hard to like stay creatively focused. How's COVID treating you? Like how are you adjusting? I know we talked briefly off camera about how like we're able to work from home on certain projects, but how's it treating you on that side?
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I think that being a creative, you rely on the external too, going to events, going to shoots, and just like being out, just kind of going around, because like things are always happening, and like you could go to an event and then all of a sudden have an idea and be like, oh, let me shoot this or something like that. So with COVID, it's been really tough because we're all just kind of gridlocked inside of our homes and everything. But creatively, I've really been just like writing like for short film ideas and kind of getting in that space, which I don't normally have time to do. And then as far as like personally, I mean, I've had to go full time freelance, like remote editing, because
Ooh.
nobody's doing anything in person, no events, no anything, which was like primarily what I was doing. So now I've had to transition to now sitting at a screen every day editing, which is great. I love it. I love editing, but yeah, man, it's definitely been an adjustment. It's been tough just because I'm always like out. I'm just such a kind of a social guy. I'm sure you're the same way. Where you know when all that's cut off, it's just like, damn, what do I do? But been watching a lot of YouTube tutorials too, and just kind of having fun with it. I feel like this time is like an important time to learn and grow, not only like skill set wise, but just like spiritually and like
Mhm.
doing a lot of meditating and reading books and learning new things and stuff. So
Hell yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel you on that because for me, that's mainly why I started the podcast and the show. I was like, damn, I can't go out and interact with all the artists and stuff I know. Like, how am I going to take all the energy that I would take into like taking photos or doing videos? How can I do that? I was like, oh damn. Well, I have all these creative friends. Why not like build a platform where we can come on here, talk about the stuff at work, and how COVID's doing. So it's been a little wild, but I think this is like something that's kept me going and getting
right.
motivated because there's some people that are actually like able to go out and like interact with artists. So I'm like, I wouldn't say jealous, but I'm like, damn, I gotta keep my foot on the throat, keep going too.
Yeah,
Hell
you
yeah.
gotta stay. You know, you gotta stay motivated. This is a great time to do so because you can get lost in a book. You can get lost in just anything really. And as long as like you're kind of feeding your creative mind, because it's tough. It's hard to. It's really easy to get like down and depressed and be like, "Damn, life, the world is going like crazy. Everything's crazy." But no, it's like I see it the other way. It's an opportunity to grow and learn, and it was just challenges, man. Life is all about getting through the challenges. So
Hell yeah. I remember, like, speaking of books, I remember what was it? I think like week 2 or 3 of lockdown. I was like, dude, this literally feels like jail. So we went to Barnes and Nobles and we got a bunch of books.
fire. I love to
I
hear that.
I was like, damn, I got to start reading. I got
Yeah.
Charlemagne's book. I got Dame Dash's book. Finally got my hands on the book that Virgil put out
Dope.
about him, like detailing his life. So that's been like super interesting to read. Like
Oh, you talking about the big blue one?
the big blue one, yeah, it's like sitting
Dope.
on a
Yeah, I
mantle.
have this right over here on the bookshelf.
But it's just that's like one of my biggest inspirations, and like like so like whenever I read about them, I'm like, damn, okay, I wonder what he would be doing during this time. And as we know, the man like doesn't sleep.
Yeah. Did you see the part of that book or the page where he had his like timesheet when he was like charging like the hours to like Kanye and like all these different people? And it's cool that he kind of put those little gems in there to see like, damn, he was really working.
like like Virgil had a time sheet,
Yeah.
which is nuts to in like theory to think about. Because I don't know, I feel like once a creative gets to that level, they're not really like people to us anymore. They're more like objects and like levels that we should
Exactly.
like obtain or try to get to. So that's definitely a great book. What are some books you're reading? If you could share for the folks.
Man, I just read a book by Andy Stanley called Visioneering,
Okay.
and it's really just like talking about the importance of having a vision for not only your life but just like whatever era you're in. Like I'm all about eras and different pockets. Like I'm not the same man I was a year ago. Like we're always growing and like things change and we have to adapt to that change. So that's kind of the book I'm reading right now. My girlfriend actually just bought me a book from this artist in San Francisco called Joe Roberts. It's crazy. It's called We Ate the Acid. And it's like the
Whoa.
craziest paintings. Like it's just like totally my kind of. So long story short, I've been wanting this book for a year, and it's just like really hard to get. And then all of a sudden, like she surprised me with it. So I'm like, oh, it was crazy.
Shout out to the girlfriends. I
Exactly.
imagine. Sorry if someone's single out there listening, but it's. I don't know how I would be able to mentally be stable during this time frame because it's just like social media is nuts,
Yeah, a
sports are nuts, like
lot of
world's
chaos.
a lot of chaos. Like I don't know how people are able to cope with everything, but
Yep.
yeah, man, that's speaking of like some of your photography. I look at like some of the stuff you took of like Chaz and like Yachty. Who's like one of your favorite persons to like work with slash like capture?
I love working with people who are just kind of like they get it. Like they're just hanging out. that's always like nice when you're just shooting people that they're like, yeah, like you had mentioned Chaz.
Mhm.
I pulled up on him and he was like eating like chicken wings, and he was just like, yeah, bro, like how you doing? Like, oh yeah, it was cool, and just like hanging out. We were hanging out. It didn't feel weird or forced. So I think those interactions where it's just like, I may be a photographer, but I'm just a human at the end of the day, and you're a
Exactly.
human. Like you might be like a famous artist or a celebrity, whatever, but you're a human at the end of the day. And so like when you take those barriers down and just like come as humans, and you're just like both passionate about what you do, like those are like the best interactions. Because I've also had interactions with other artists who are just like, yo, bro, get the fuck out of here, like whatever, which is fine. Like I don't care. Like it's like whatever. Like I don't want to be that guy, but I always just try to like kind of bring an energy where I'm like, hey, like just pretend like we're in like at the crib just hanging out or something like that. But yeah, Chaz was a lot of fun. I think like at the end of the day, I'm always a fan of these people, so it's been nice to like shoot them. Like that's what kind of humbles me, because it's like, damn, like I was in high school listening to so and so or whatever. So anytime I do have those opportunities, I try to take advantage of them, and just kind of like um, I don't know, just kind of think outside the box and do things differently. I guess I don't want to be that photographer that's just like has his Instagram feed where it's just a bunch of famous people, right? Like I gotta be sending a message or want to kind of do things in my own way.
Exactly. That's what I struggled with when I first started, because I know a lot of photographers probably follow like Gunner and like other like
Right.
portrait photographers, and I was like, damn, like I'm friends with a lot of like artists. Like maybe I should just do all portraits of just them and like have that on my page. I was like, oh wait, he does that because that's his style. Like it's not necessarily like he's going for like, oh, I'm only going to shoot famous people. So it took a while for me to like tap in, like, dude, do it your way. Like it's fine. Like why not capture those kind of moments? But yeah, hearing you
Yeah,
speak on that,
definitely.
it's awesome.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's been fun to just kind of like I said, it's just like you're just hanging out and shit happens, and the next thing you know, like you get the film developed, and you're like, oh, dope. Okay, let's make it. So,
Hell yeah.
but
You've definitely been on your share of tours I've checked out. What was like a wild memory or like something fun that you could share with the audience?
oh man, it was probably the first time I met Kanye. I was on tour with Teyana Taylor, and
Hmm.
we were in San Francisco, and I got word. I think it was from Alex Rifkin, who said like Steve Rifkin's son was on the tour with me, and he was like, "Yo, like I think my dad's flying in with Kanye," and so I immediately like I don't get starstruck, right? Because like this is our job, right? This is just like
That's the only person.
I gotta be on my toes. So like like designer pulled up, and I'm like, "Oh, dope, okay," but like when I heard those words, Kanye, like that's one of my probably my biggest inspiration.
Hell yeah.
Um, and when I heard those words, that name, I was just like, oh shit. So I just immediately was just like, okay, okay. And then like an hour later, Tiana was performing, and so I had to film her set. And then all of a sudden, like these like five security guards came in, and I was like, okay, that's probably like Kanye's people. And so then he came out and performed the last song. I forget what they performed. I got to rewatch the footage, but yeah, I was on stage. Like I literally have like uh, a
That is
clip of,
nuts.
of like me like right behind Kanye, and I'm just holding the phone. Like, damn, like what a crazy moment. But I think the craziest part was Denim Tears Tremaine pulled up
Yeah.
with him too, and so they after the show they went upstairs into the green room, and it was Kanye, Tremaine, and then this one girl that he was always with at that time. I forget what her name is, and then me. And it was and it was just us four in the room, and I was sitting there filming Kanye, and he was eating like chicken and rice, and just he was like tired, and he was just like going on this rant about how when he was recording. Oh God, what was it? Oh yeah, he was just talking about the pink polo era
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And so I have this like 8 minute long clip of him talking about some rare shit. And so yeah, that was probably my like craziest tour moment. I literally like ran outside into the bus, and I was like, "Fuck, I gotta call my mom or some shit." Like, she's
Hell
not
yeah.
gonna believe this, because so yeah, it was a good time.
That's a gem, man. You gotta save that for like when your kids are born. Like, hey, I want to show you something.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I have my hard drive with all that tour footage on there, and I'm like, bro, I gotta like put this in a vault or something. And,
hell
like
yeah, you gotta save. You gotta save that for a
protect
good
it at all
moment, man.
costs. Yeah, definitely.
I had a crazy moment similar to that. One of my friends, works in production. He does lighting, and it was like freezing outside. This is like Jesus is King era, and it was freezing outside. I got a text like, "Yo, can you get downtown in like 20 minutes?" Because they're practicing. I was like, "Bro, Kanye's not going to be there. It's just going to be the choir."
Yeah.
And somehow I got out, and I walk down there. We stay there. It's like 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30.
You're getting tired. You're like,
and I'm like, bro. And Kanye's like big on my list of like inspirations, probably like number 1 or 2 behind Cudi. And
we're the same person.
Are you Libra?
No, I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, okay. We still, that's compatible.
Definitely.
So then it's like 4:35, and I just see these suits, the same situation. I was like, oh shit, what's going on? And at that point, it's only like 20 people in there. Everyone's dog tired. And I see this guy, and I'm like, I've never seen Kanye in person. I've always seen him like on stage or like TV. I see this guy and walking. I'm like, just no way.
Yeah.
He walks through the secret like little entrance, and the guy I was with, he works at Hot 97, and he's like, yo, don't freak out right now. And I was like, what? And I turn around, and Ye's right to the like my right, and I have my camera in my hand, and I was like, I can't. Like, I was like, all right, what do I do? So then his security guy was like, he's gonna come back, and he comes back, and he went to the bathroom. He came back, and I was still so like starstruck that I double clicked and the flash went off, and he was just like looked at me and just like kept and like walked in. I was like, blew it. So I was like, all right. So I was like, all right, it's not my moment yet. It's not my moment to meet him on like a personal level. So
yeah, well, that's just like such a surreal kind of like thing to experience because like I said, I've worked with many artists before, but like that was the first time where it was like, whoa, this is like
that's next level, man.
Massive level inspiration, not only personally but just like globally, because it's like, damn, But yeah, that's cool that you definitely had that brushing with him because it probably made you feel inspired too, and that's what it all comes down to is like even though you talk about the whole Flash situation, like that doesn't even matter. Like the fact that you like were in that position at that moment, like that probably gave you so much like confidence and creative energy too. You're like, man, fuck, man, like I gotta
step my shit up. Hell yeah,
yeah.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, those are cool moments.
Yeah, man. It's eye opening because I watch a lot of YouTube now, and I'm just like I go back and watch like Jay-Z interviews and stuff, and I always want to see like I argue with my friends all the time like, do you think artists ever change? And like I watch like from Reasonable Doubt to 444 interviews, and I just look for little gems to just like motivation for the day, and I'm just like, damn. He always talks about like, if you're ready for that moment, like what are you gonna do with it? And I was like, oh, I wasn't ready at that moment.
Yeah, right.
Which is nuts, but it's like, all right, I just gotta keep working, step my shit up.
Are you a Jay Electronica fan?
Dude, when I lived in New York, he was always like hanging out with Rocky. I never knew who he was. I only knew the music. I never knew the face, but like you had a crazy story with him too.
No, no, I just you were talking about like watching YouTube like inspirational videos, and I met Jason Goldwatch in LA a couple years ago, and he filmed like all the Man on the Moon 2 stuff, like went on tour with Cudi, but he also was Jay Electronica's videographer, like, and they flew to like Budapest and did this like short film, but so Goldwatch actually introduced me to Jay Electronica, like put me onto his music, and I started going on down the YouTube
rabbit hole, man.
The Jay like rabbit hole. And I went so far down that I found shit that had like 23 views, and I had to rip that like YouTube to mp4.com and like put it on my hard drive. So like anytime I'm feeling down, like I literally have a folder on there that says like Jay Electronica videos. It's like 10 videos of him like in the streets in New York, with like 20 views on the video, like back in like 2011. And I'm like, dude, it's those people that make the the world go around, in my opinion.
Hell yeah, man! I definitely I gotta do that. Damn, I didn't think about that. That's a good.
Who knows? Maybe if you go back and save it like on YouTube, but like the video got like the person that made that video deleted it, or like
exactly.
So take that shit off, rip it, and put it on your hard drive. You'll have it forever.
Hell yeah. Let's see what are you working on right now? That if you can share like projects that you're looking forward to sharing in 2021 when the world like calms down at some point.
Probably the Wu-Tang doc. We filmed that in January, February, but like that's one of those projects that's got to marinate for a little bit, and I want to put it out at the right time, and that project I think will kind of shed a light on the type of person that Steve Rifkin is. If people that watch this don't know who that is, like check him out because he is like one of the OGs from the '90s era rap. Like he literally, he started Loud Records and signed Fat Joe, Wu Tang, like all those like DMX, Mary
Heavy
J.
hitters.
Blige, yeah, everything. So, I that's a project. If I have the responsibility to tell that story, I want to make sure and do it right. I don't care if I have to sit on it for 2 years. Like I'm not going to put out anything like that would just I don't want to do Steve Rifkin like that because I know that everything he touches is great. So I want to make sure that that is represented through his like this documentary. So I want to really spend some more time with it and do some more interviews and stuff. So that's probably my big 2021 project that's coming. So
All right, cool. You registered to vote too?
I absolutely am.
Hell yeah, man. We got to do this country right. That's what's
I
up,
know,
bro.
man, definitely.
Who you got in the finals?
For the finals, bro,
I'm going Heat in 4. I'm saying it loud and proud right now for the fans.
Wait, is it Lakers Heat in the finals?
Lakers Heat in the finals.
Wow.
I wish D Wade's knees weren't like awful. Pause. Like that would have been like amazing.
Damn, I always log in to like ESPN.com to see the playoff tree, but I did not know that it's Heat Lakers. That's crazy.
Heat it's gonna be nuts.
I stopped watching after the Clippers blew that 3-1 lead, and I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm out.
And then they fired my man Doc. They did Doc dirty.
Celtics legend.
Oh man, that was rough to watch. I was like, damn, he did everything he could to turn that team around. Like he tried to make Lob City, and PG came and played 24-hour fitness basketball.
Dude, I had a Blake Griffin 32, like the whole BG 32 era. Like
Ooh.
I had the red Clippers jersey, and that was like that was my team until they split up, and then the whole DeAndre Mavericks scenario, like all that drama. And I was like, dude, I kind of stopped watching NBA after that era ended. Honestly, I'll still watch the playoffs, but
yeah, no, I don't think I've probably been to like 2 or 3 regular season games because maybe like one of my homies was like working, got me like nosebleed seats.
Yeah, they're fun to go to.
Oh hell yeah, you can just get drunk as hell. That's the one thing I miss about New York. You can just get hammered and just walk home or get on the train.
Exactly.
We practice safe drinking, but like you know what I mean. You can have a good time and then you don't have to drive. LA's different. Like since I moved here, I've only been here for like 5 months now. It's like, oh, I can only have 1 glass of wine or like 1 beer, and then I have to drink a ton of water before I get in the car because it's wild out here.
Were you born and raised in New York?
I was born in Dallas, Texas, but then I moved to New York for school. Stayed there for like 10 years, and I was like, all right, it's time to bounce.
So now you're in LA for good?
Yeah. I don't know for good. I want to move around because my parents lived full lives, and they travel a lot. They still travel a lot, so I'm like, I
gotta do it all, man.
Gotta make some money. Hell yeah, man.
If anything, if 2020 says anything, like it's like you gotta really live your life to the fullest.
You have to the fullest. You never know. Literally.
Yeah. That's like always the advice. Like if anyone asks me advice or is in the DMs asking things, I'm like, dude, don't overthink it. Just whatever your heart. If you fail, if you lose money, if you go in debt, if you do whatever, like it's okay to make mistakes. Like you have to learn lessons because that's what you're gonna learn moving forward. So like whether it's moving to a big city and you're from a small town, like I'm from a small town like Spokane, Washington, and I moved straight to LA, and then like so it's just like no. You just can't have fear going into it. And I think it's important for everybody to have those experiences in their life, especially at a young age before they start having like kids or buying a house or anything like that. So
that's what I tell people all the time because I got some younger people on my team and they're always asking me, how did you figure out like what did you want to do? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I prayed for the best.
Yeah,
I literally quit my job in New York and moved here.
You trust it. It's like
I was like, I'm doing it. Luckily I had enough funds like saved up to where I can like kind of kick it for a little bit, but then finally got a new job and I was like, all right, like I still don't want to lose my hunger, like what brought me over here. So I'm super excited about that.
I know you'll appreciate this. I was in 8th grade. I was like 14 years old, and this is the moment that I knew I wanted to be like an artist or just in whatever was Kid Cudi dropped Man on the Moon 2, Revo Fev. He went back and played it at the Babe store, and I was like 14 years old, and I watched that video like on YouTube of like him going there, and he's like he's in the car in the back, and he's like says his whole spiel, and they pull up, and he's like, dim the lights on that motherfucker, and then like gets out of the car and goes in and performs, and I'm like, that's it, like 14-year-old Evan, I'm like, whatever. Oh no, I have to.
What's your favorite Cudi era? Mine's definitely A Kid Named Cudi. That was like
Yeah,
he was rapping his
come on.
he was rapping his ass off.
Oh,
that was early Wale too. Like
definitely.
That's
definitely. That was like the Karma Loop era when he was like pulling up to like Ciroc events in Lower East Side, and he was just running around. People didn't. He was wearing like the flannel shirts with the beanie. Like people don't realize that Cudi really came like from that era. Like nobody knew who he was at first, and that was like all like raw talent. He really ushered in that sound of like, I don't know, just like that stoner music, like that classic Cudi, just like his own. Just obviously very, just a vibe, like very obviously very Kanye influence. So that was great that he, got on with him and like good music and everything. But yeah, Cudi's a legend. My favorite era is probably just because I have so many emotional memories attached to it, but probably Man on the Moon 2.
Woo.
It's a little bit darker than,
that was when he was going through it.
Yeah. It was, but just like Mary J on the These Worries, like those kind of like classic moments on the album, like I can't. Every time I listen to like Maniac, it just sends me straight into that. It's kind of like when you're watching a Christopher Nolan film and you leave the theater and like you feel like Batman. It's the same. It's like this. Yeah. It's the same thing when you listen to Kid Cudi. You feel like Kid Cudi. So I think that's why he resonated so much. Like today, in corporate America, everybody's making music that'll just make money, like whatever's in. But like Cudi really was like the kid running around in Lower East Side, making music for himself and his friends, and then he just blew up. So he's dope.
Yeah, man, that's one of my favorites. Well, all right, man. Don't want to hold you too long. Thanks so much for coming on. This should be out shortly. Tell the folks where they can reach you, where they find you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me on, man. Just find me on Instagram. It's just my name at Evan Roberts, and then just look out for the next couple of years. A lot of still human stuff. I'm kind of working on this idea right now of just bringing together people, mixing art and everything, just like getting back to the basics, reading books, meditation, having like a different approach to like, the whole Zen mode when you're creating. So check out Still Human. Hopefully in a couple of years it'll have manifested into something, but I'm going to really keep working on that. So appreciate you having me on though, man.
No problem. All right, man. I'll see you later. To all the folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube to the channel for more content. This audio is going to be out everywhere you can stream podcasts, bootleg it, do whatever you want. Follow the kid.
Rip it, put it on your hard drive.
Everything. Follow the kid, Lourenzo Smith. Follow Slated, all that good stuff. Y'all have a good night.
Hang out too. I'll be back in LA here soon.
Hell yeah, bro. Please get some tacos or Jamaican food.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. Take it easy.
All right, peace.